Yeah, this is my first, I guess, vlog. Is that what this is? Video log? Blog? I don't know. Anyway, um, so we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to have conversations out in the forest. This is the forest. This is where I live. This is my backyard. That's the Snoqualmie River. And yeah, I figured this would be the best place to do it. It's so peaceful and so serene, and I feel like we need more of that in our lives. So, anyway, um, I'm going to talk about anything from chronic illness to songwriting to, I don't know, just everyday struggles, um, mental health, all that good stuff. Um, we'll see where it takes us. That's the plan. Um, so, the reason I'm doing this is I'm currently on FMLA from work. I was having some health issues, and my doctor recommended that I take some time off. Um, so that's what I'm doing. And um, I just had the idea the other day to like, why don't I do a podcast or a vlog or YouTube channel or something where I can share my experiences and maybe help somebody, and in the process help myself. I'm hoping it'll be kind of like therapeutic for me and hopefully others who are going through some of the same things that I'm going through. Um, yeah, and yeah, so I think that's it for now. I'm guessing this will probably evolve and grow, and at least I hope so. And like right now, my mind's kind of all over the place with what I want to do with this because I have so many things that I'm interested in. Um, I was recently diagnosed with ADHD, so now it all makes sense why I have all these ideas, and I just have so much going on up here, and so little time, and now so little energy with the health issues, and so I need to find a way to focus and hone in on exactly where I want to take this. I've got three pretty big ideas. So one is the chronic illness stuff, but I don't want it all to be about that because I just feel like that's not fun. Um, and I want to have some fun too. So um, I'm also a musician. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I have a music studio in my house. My husband has been building, and it's amazing. And you'll get to see that eventually. Um, and yeah, so I started like writing. Started writing song. Well, I started writing songs when I was a little kid. The first time I recall hearing like an instrument, a live instrument, and feeling elated and by it. I was 5 years old, and it was in our choir director's house, the choir director of our church. They had this big, beautiful house, and when we walked in, I think we were there for dinner with my family. And when we walked in, there was this gorgeous grand piano in the entryway, and I was just like, "What is that? It's so beautiful." And they were like, "Sit down, play it." And so I did. And oh my goodness, I think that probably changed my life forever. Um, I just remember thinking that I was playing the most beautiful music in the world. And I still remember the feeling that it gave me. Um, I don't know how to describe it other than it was just beautiful. And like it took my breath away because it was the first time I'd ever heard anything like that, and much less created music myself. So that was the beginning. And my parents, so from then on, I was just obsessed with pianos. And every time I saw a piano, I would just like salivate, just like, I have to get my hands on that piano. I have to play it. And so my parents They must have recognized that because they, I think a few years later, well, they got me into piano lessons, and they bought me an old antique upright grand, um, that had broken keys and it was out of tune, and but it was so beautiful. It was black and it had this ornate woodwork on it, and I loved that thing. Oh man, what I wouldn't give to still have that piano. I wrote so many songs on that thing, and I just remember feeling like a sense of freedom when I was playing the piano. I don't quite know why. I don't quite know why. Maybe I'll figure that out in this process as I talk about it. But it was a sense of freedom and a sense of, I guess, maybe, I don't know. I was creating something. I was making something out of nothing, basically. And it felt powerful. It felt, um, yeah, I don't know. But I just remember, oh, I remember, the song by heart, the song Alone. I hear the ticking of the clock. I'm lying here, the room's pitch dark. You probably know that song. It's pretty popular back then. But I taught myself how to play it on the piano. And yeah, I think that was one of the first big songs that I learned, or that I taught myself how to play. Um, yeah, I should do a cover of that still, just as like a throwback to my childhood. Um, and then, like I said, my parents put me in piano lessons, and I think I was maybe in them for a year, but I just remember hating it. I just wanted to make songs. I didn't care about learning about theory and stuff, but I mean, obviously it was helpful, and it taught me some basics that I needed to know. And um, for the rest of my my childhood, I would just write music. I didn't take any more lessons after that. I did do a lot of choir in school, which was fun. So I learned a lot about singing and vocal technique and stuff like that. And and then I also got into guitar lessons when I was a teenager. My dad bought a guitar, and he would play it all the time, and I thought it was so cool. And so I remember picking up his guitar and trying to play it, and obviously I couldn't. It was really difficult. It wasn't like the piano where you can just push some keys with your fingers, and with the guitar you had to have all this like um, flex flexibility, or I can't think of the word right now. I was going to say agility, but I don't think it's that either. It's something else, but coordination. There we go. You had to have all this hand-eye coordination, and it hurt. Like you'd get calluses on your fingers. And once you got the calluses, that was awesome, but it took a while to build up the calluses. And while you were building them up, your fingers were just so tender. But I stuck with it, and learned a few songs from my dad, and like some simple things like Sweet Home Alabama, Leonard Skinner, that kind of stuff. And but then uh, my dad got me guitar lessons, and I remember it was from this older man, long white hair. His name was Dragon, and he had the longest, most beautiful fingernails because he played classical guitar. So he would use this hand with the fingernails and like pick the strings with his long fingernails. And that was fun. That was fun. That one I was more receptive to learning because I think maybe I was older. And yeah, I remember learning. He asked me, what song do you want to learn?" And I was really into like Fleetwood Mac at the time, and so I said, "The Chain" by Fleetwood Mac, and he was like, "Oh, that's a good one." From what I remember, I think he was actually a musician. He knew like some pretty big like rock stars and had played in some big bands. And so when I said Fleetwood Mac, his face just like lit up, and so yeah. Anyway, enough about Dragon. Um, So that's kind of the progression of my childhood when it came to music. I sang in a lot of weddings. I sang in a lot of concerts at school. I was known as the singer in school. Like everybody, even at parties in high school, you know, we'd be drinking and doing this and that, and like my friends would be like, sing for us," and we'd go like sit in their car, and I would sing like a cappella. I remember singing Boys to Men. I don't know if it was like End of the Road or what song it was, but it was one of those good ones. And um, yeah, and like at birthday parties, people would be like, "Can you sing for me for my birthday?" And it was so cool. I loved being known as the singer, and I think I was actually pretty good. At the time, I thought I was good. Like I had so much confidence. I didn't really like doubt myself when I was younger. I was just like, "This is what I do. This is who I am," and I owned it, you know. And now, you know, as an adult, I've struggled a lot over the years with my identity as an artist. You know, after I graduated and got older, into my 20s and stuff, um, I just kind of left it behind. I thought, you know, dreams are for dreamers, and I need to take action with my life. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life because I didn't think I could be an artist or a musician and make a living at that. I just never even really considered that it was a possibility. Now looking back, I'm like, God, there's so many things I could have done to at least like get into the music industry. You know, I could have gone to school for music production, and I could have gotten my foot in the door, and you know, made connections and been so far in my music career by now. But I didn't know any of that, and I didn't have anybody to really like counsel me on that stuff. And um, so I just went to school and um, went to more school and just kept going to school because I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And um, like I was searching, and no matter how much schooling I did, it was like, oh, I think this would be cool, and then I would do it, and I'd be like, no, that's not what I want. So then I would switch my degree or my focus of study, and I don't know how many years of school total I've done, but I've done so much, and I do have a master's degree now. I have a master's degree in education with an emphasis in student counseling. Um, and yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that later. I'm not a student counselor, so I didn't go that route either. But something that I recently figured out, because when my doctor said I needed to take time off for health issues, he suggested that I get into therapy as well. So I've been in therapy now for a couple of months, and what I learned in therapy recently was that I've spent my whole life avoiding or not recognizing my true path, which is music. And so I've done all these other things, like I've gone to school and I've had all these other jobs and I've had all these career paths, and like none of them were music and none of them made me happy. And here I am now, 49 years old, just figuring it out finally. So, yeah, here we are. My husband, Sam, um, so my partner, Sam, he's so smart. He's a genius. He can figure anything out. If he puts his mind to it or if he decides that he wants to do something, he does it and he just figures it out. He researches it and he does it. And so with this whole music thing, you know, let's see. So about 10 years ago or so, maybe a little more, um, I got the bug again to just start making music. And no, it's wrong. Okay, so then I met my husband in 2006, October 2006. It'll be 18 years this October. Um, and he was an electronic musician when I met him. And I was actually making music in my apartment at the time. I had a little tiny, I had an old, like a 4 track, the old analog 4 track. You may not know, but some of you might. And in my, I turned my dining room into a little studio. I had my little Casio piano with the weighted keys, and I had my 4 track, and I would just write music in my dining room. And then I met Sam, my husband Sam, and um, he was an electronic musician, like I said. So things moved pretty fast with us. We like just immediately like knew that we were each other's person. And so I met him in October, and I moved in with him in February of the following year. So October, November, December, January, February. So literally 4 months I moved in with him. And it was kind of far away from where I lived at the time, and I was working where I lived, and so I had to commute from his place to my job. So, but anyway, I told him, I was like, I want you to teach me how to make electronic music, and because I had never done that before, I just played piano, guitar. It was all analog for me. I'd used a drum machine, a Yamaha drum machine. That was the extent of electronic music for me. And so he said okay, and he set up his studio in his townhouse so that I had a workstation, he had a workstation, and then he just kind of slowly started feeding me, bits of information and letting me kind of figure some things out for my own. And um, here we are, 18 years later, and I have come so far. And I have really put a lot of time and effort into learning electronic music, and I feel like I'm in a place now where I'm ready to take it to the next level. So, Sam, my amazing partner, he he found a producer, and he has been sending the producer some of the songs that I've written, and that producer is, you know, making them better, fine tuning them, making them sound professional, and so that's where we're at right now. We're in the process of making an album with this producer, so I'm super excited. And I don't know if I mentioned, but we have a music studio in our house where I've been writing my stuff. Um, and I'm continuing to write. I have been writing like almost every day now, especially since I've been on FMLA. It's been so awesome having the time and the energy to create, and just the headspace. Yeah, the headspace is probably 80% of it for me. I'm such a highly sensitive person that if I'm like depressed or stressed or anxious, whatnot, it's really hard for me to create. So I actually use nature a lot for that. Living out here where we live, we have amazing forests, cascades, right, we're right at the foothills of the Cascade Mountains. So I go out into nature almost every day, aside from my own backyard, which is our own little nature habitat here. I take my dog out a lot out in the woods, and I call it my sanctuary because that's kind of where I find my peace. It's where I meditate. It's where I ground myself, and that makes me a better artist and a better person and just happier all the way around. So, yeah, it's a little bit about me and where I come from. And um, so, this journey for me is going to be about just letting you all in on my experience, and hope you enjoy. Thanks.